A 27-year-old female educator unexpectedly developed feelings for a student 12 years her junior. Though this forbidden romance should have faced society's disapproval, it touched the hearts of countless audiences who witnessed their story unfold. The first encounter between Takao and Yukino happened on a morning filled with rain. Takao cherished rainy weather, so whenever storms arrived, he would abandon his classes and seek refuge in the park. There, he found solace in the tranquility that rainfall provided. The gazebo at the park's heart served as a sanctuary during these escapes from school. However, on this particular day, someone else occupied his usual retreat. She appeared as an elegant, sophisticated woman dressed in business attire. Neither acknowledged the other's presence initially. Takao, clutching his notebook, discreetly watched Yukino as she consumed an unusual breakfast combination of chocolate paired with beer, which struck him as peculiar. Soon, recognition stirred within him. This woman seemed familiar somehow. Unable to contain his curiosity, Takao approached her, asking if their paths had crossed before. Yukino denied any previous meeting, initially dismissing his question as a typical attempt at flirtation. When she noticed the school emblem on his uniform, her demeanor shifted. It belonged to the same institution where she was employed. She reconsidered, admitting they might have encountered each other after that. As Yukino prepared to depart, she whispered mysteriously. Soft thunder echoes. Skies grow dim with clouds. Rain may descend. Should it fall, would you remain here beside me? After delivering this enigmatic verse, she vanished from sight. Though Takao couldn't decipher the poem's meaning, it marked the beginning of their intertwined destiny. Takao's domestic circumstances were troubled, forcing him to mature beyond his years. He shouldered family responsibilities early in life. His mother had abandoned their home to live with someone 12 years younger, while his elder brother planned to move in with his partner the following month. What once was a loving household now left Takao in solitude. During regular school days, he attended classes like any typical student, yet felt perpetually out of place. He yearned for stormy weather, as if only the rain-soaked pavilion could provide him true belonging. Unknown to him, destiny was already weaving his story with Yukino's. Their second meeting arrived with the next rainfall. This encounter lacked the initial awkwardness, replaced instead by warm mutual recognition. Again, Yukino enjoyed her strange breakfast ritual of beer and chocolate. Takao struggled to maintain composure as his gaze repeatedly drifted to her elegant feet, which he began sketching in his notebook. Surprisingly, Yukino initiated conversation, questioning his absence from school. Rather than answering, he countered by asking why she hadn't reported to work. She casually mentioned skipping her job, then offered chocolate from her bag. Their first real conversation flowed naturally, as if they were longtime companions rather than strangers. At midday, Takao rose to leave, explaining he only missed morning classes on rainy days. Afternoons required his return to school. Yukino sensed they would meet again during the next storm. What Takao didn't realize was that Yukino, like him, sought refuge in the pavilion during rainy mornings when she avoided work. In subsequent weeks, each rainfall brought them together in a shared sanctuary. These moments became precious to both Takao and Yukino, as two isolated souls gradually drew closer. Through growing familiarity, Takao began revealing personal details, sharing his aspiration to become a skilled shoemaker. The first time he voiced this dream aloud. Gradually, tender emotions began stirring within Takao's heart. Each morning upon waking, he found himself hoping for rain. Yet simultaneously, he understood the vast distance separating their worlds. To 15-year-old Takao, Yukino represented an unreachable adulthood. Despite this reality, he continued wishing for storms that would bring them together again. As weeks passed, their bond deepened until they began sharing meals. This revealed Yukino's surprising lack of culinary skills, which she acknowledged with embarrassment, shyly offering him water while asking him not to tease her about it. Unbeknownst to Takao, Yukino's poor cooking resulted from illness that had stolen her sense of taste, leaving her able to perceive only beer and chocolate. Today, however, she detected something new, the flavor of Takao's homemade lunch. Having no one else to confide in, Yukino called her former partner to share this small joy. His voice remained gentle as always, though she knew he had cruelly abandoned her during her illness. Now, a 15-year-old stranger sat beside her, yet Yukino hadn't noticed that she too had begun anticipating rainy days. To reciprocate Takao's kindness in preparing meals, Yukino presented him with a gift, a comprehensive guide to handcrafted shoe construction. This was a book Takao had long coveted but couldn't afford due to its high cost. Overwhelmed by emotion, he could no longer contain his feelings. Summoning courage, he voiced thoughts he'd harbored secretly, expressing his desire to craft shoes specifically. Yukino understood the deeper meaning behind his offer, but didn't refuse. Takao's presence felt like warm sunlight piercing her lonely existence. Without realizing when it began, she too had developed special feelings for the boy before. Takao carefully measured Yukino's feet with gentle hands, his first experience touching a woman's feet. The atmosphere grew intimate between them as sunlight began filtering through dark clouds, suggesting the rain would soon cease. His tender touch felt like sunshine after storms, filling the air around them. Yukino cooperated silently, gazing at the gentle youth before her. In this moment, she unexpectedly voiced her inner anguish. Takao observed her sadness, but remained quiet, knowing virtually nothing about Yukino, not her profession, age, or even her name. He wanted to comfort her, but didn't know where to begin. His heart felt constricted as if gripped by invisible hands. Despite this pain, Takao remained irresistibly drawn to Yukino, unable to resist the emotions overwhelming him. But lengthy rainy seasons must end eventually. They hadn't met for an extended period, leaving Yukino with profound emptiness. She tried consoling herself that separation might be beneficial. Takao could focus on studies without excuses to skip class, and she could resume normal life. Yet inexplicably, she found herself returning to their park repeatedly. The sunny park felt alien to Yukino, as this summer brought little precipitation. Even summer vacation arrived without rain. To earn university funds, Takao worked constantly, beyond daily labor. His greatest happiness came from crafting Yukino's shoes after work. 2 months passed without their meeting, during which Yukino often visited the sunny pavilion, drinking beer alone. Both waited eagerly for rainfall, but fate seemed to mock their longing. On the first day following summer break, they encountered each other unexpectedly. Neither could have imagined their long-awaited reunion would occur under such circumstances. Words Takao had rehearsed extensively refused to emerge. From classmates, he learned Yukino taught at their school and was currently processing a resignation. The reason involved a senior student's infatuation with her. When the boy's girlfriend discovered this, she spread malicious rumors claiming Yukino seduced male students. To prevent escalation, the school exploited Yukino's kindness, pressuring her voluntary departure. Finally understanding the complete truth, the source of Yukino's sorrow, Takao confronted the lying female student directly, delivering a sharp slap across her face. In retaliation, older students beat him severely. Takao refused to yield. He would never permit anyone to tarnish the sacred light dwelling in his heart. The following day brought no rain, but Takao couldn't wait long. Knowing Yukino needed companionship, he went directly to the park, certain she would be there. Yukino was surprised by his arrival, but Takao spoke gently. "If rain falls, will you remain with me? Even without rain, I'll stay here." Suddenly, the clear sky rumbled with thunder. They had finally received their wished-for storm. Caught unprepared, both were soaked by the sudden downpour. To prevent illness, Yukino brought Takao to her apartment, where she ironed his wet clothes while he, wearing her shirt, prepared lunch. Outside, the tempest raged, but inside, warmth pervaded. In that moment, they forgot all sadness and worry, becoming completely absorbed in present happiness. Takao gazed at Yukino, no longer able to suppress his emotions. Finally, He spoke the words buried deepest in his heart. Hearing Takao's confession, Yukino froze momentarily. She seemed to have anticipated this declaration, yet her expression soon turned sorrowful as sadness and loss enveloped her again. Yukino knew she couldn't reciprocate this love due to their 12-year age difference. She gently rejected Takao, informing him of her plan to return to her hometown following. Takao wasn't shocked by her refusal. He said nothing more, simply changing back into his own clothes. However, Yukino felt regret, having so much to express, but finding herself unable to speak. Only when she heard the door close behind his departure did overwhelming loss flood her heart. Only the tea on her table proved Takao had been present. Yukino could no longer maintain her composed facade. Covering her face, she wept as warm memories with Takao continuously resurfaced. At that moment, she realized his tender love had already taken root in her heart. Finally understanding her true feelings, Yukino made her decision. Barefoot, she rushed from her house, terrified that Takao had already left. Fortunately, he remained. His solitary figure stood between staircases as Yukino appeared before him. Takao was so nervous he could barely breathe, yet tried to act normal. He told Yukino to forget his earlier words, claiming he didn't actually love her. Takao believed this affection was merely his imagination, while Yukino had revealed nothing, not her identity, occupation, or even her name. His anger intensified with each word until his final sentences became shouts. Tears streamed down Yukino's face in response to his outburst. She could no longer suppress her love for Takao. She ran to him, embracing him tightly while sobbing loudly. Sunlight scattered the clouds, becoming a blessing that warmed their tightly held souls. Now they no longer yearned exclusively for rainy days. Yukino departed for her hometown, while Takao continued pursuing his dreams through hard work. Brief separation didn't end their love. As spring transformed to winter, Takao returned to their original meeting pavilion, repeatedly reading Yukino's letters. The shoes he crafted for her were now complete. A poem from her letter echoed in his mind. If someday you can walk further and more steadily, then go to her. Love transcends age and conquers life and death. But genuine love always results from mutual effort. So if you ever encounter your destined person, despite all obstacles, don't fear. Be courageous, move forward, and love without hesitation. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope for 2K likes. Bye.